Fine. Welcome to the training. Welcome to the day 4. Okay. I'll just open up your workspace first. In the first 3 days, we have just seen the basic functionalities of WebDriver. Okay. And yesterday, I told you basically how to manage interfaces. What is the meaning of interfaces, right? How to open the browser of your choice and how to import the documentation of Selenium, that is Java docs, into Eclipse, right? So that's what we saw yesterday. We saw that we can open up any browser and then take it to the website of our choice. Then I told you that on the web page there are objects, there are web elements, you have to recognize them. Fine. So uh, let's move forward. All right, and let's explore the concept of identifying objects. I'm sorry. If I open up a browser, right, and just a minute. All right, if I go to any website, fine, suppose I go to the website in bbc.com. Hold on. Yeah, so what happens is that how Selenium works, right? uh, it goes into the page source. Fine, it goes into the page source and it reads these tags. Yesterday I told you these are the tags, right? Whatever is there in the maroonish color, these are the tags. Okay, and every tag has got set of attributes associated with it. For example, this is an h2 tag. It's got attributes like class and id. Fine. So with the combination of these tag names and the attributes associated with the tag names, you can identify the objects. Okay, fine. So how do we do that? I'll just explain you. We'll make an Excel file. Objects.xlsx. Alright. So there is we'll make a column known as object, tag name, optional attributes, and mandatory attributes. Fine. Okay, there is a question being asked. Is the tag that you showed is what is called? No, XPaths are very different, Jyoti. Don't confuse tag names with XPaths. I'll tell you about XPaths. Hold on. Okay, now what are the components of a web page? On a web page, there is an input field, or you can say you have, suppose you have links first of all. Okay, then you have got text field, then you have drop lists. These are the various kinds of objects on the page, right? Then you have got um, radio buttons, you have got checkboxes, right? You have got normal text which is there in the page. Yes, combo box practicing. Yeah, okay. And you have got images on a page. Fine. And right. Okay. So these are, hold on, something has happened to my screen. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So these are the general components on the page: links, text fields, droplets, radio buttons, checkboxes, text, images. Fine. Apart from these, there are components like web table is there. Okay. Then frames are there. These are not visible to the human eye. Fine. But these are the major web components which we deal with. Okay. Right. Now each of these web components, they have a tag name, optional and mandatory attributes associated with them. For example, if I look at a link, now how do I look at the link? I have to go into the page source, then look at the link. No, you don't have to do that. You can simply install an add-on in your Mozilla. Fine. There is an add-on known as Firebug in Mozilla which can help you identify the objects very easily. I'll tell you, hold on. You go to Google and just type download Firebug. Fine. And this is the first link which you will get. Fine. Click on this and you can add the Firebug to Firefox. Click on this button and it will start downloading. And you can install it. Install now. Just restart your Mozilla Firefox and you will see an icon out here. This is Firebug. Okay, you click on this and a separate window like this will open up. Hold on, I'll just increase the text size. Right. Okay, now if I am on any page, for example this is the Google page, if I click on this arrow, fine, this is an arrow over here in Firebug, this one, this arrow over here, if I click on this and then if I move my mouse over the page, it will start giving me HTML code for that particular element. For example, if I look at this text field, the Google text field in which we write something, then this text field is highlighted. It's an input tag with this ID, type, name, value, max length and placeholder attributes. Alright, if you look at this link, sign up link, then this is the link. It's the anchor tag. Okay, people are saying that they are getting echo. Is everybody on mute? I hope everybody is on mute. Nadia, you get an echo because you have joined the meeting 2 times. Sorry. I see you joined the meeting 2 times. You can leave once. That's why you're getting the echo. Okay. So this is an anchor tag. Fine. Nadia, please leave the meeting once because this will consume a lot of bandwidth from my side as well. Fine. Just leave the meeting once. from your one of the IDs, and you will be able to hear it clearly, and my bandwidth will also be saved. Yeah, thank you. So this is a anchor tag, fine, ahref, and this is the link, fine, and this is the sign up link. So always remember that anchor tag starts from A. Link starts from anchor tag A. href attribute over here points to the URL which will open up when you click on the link. You take up any link. For example, I go to the website bbc.com again. And if I look at the link, for example, I look out here, Republicans demand healthcare delay, like this link. So this is the link, anchor tag. It's got an attribute href. It's also got some attribute rev. Fine. So the tag name for a link will always be A. Optional and mandatory attributes. Okay. Every tag has got set of mandatory as well as optional attributes. For a link, the mandatory attribute is href. Href attribute points towards the URL which will open when you click on the link. Okay, fine. I forgot buttons. Buttons are also there on the web page. Okay, now let's look at text field. A text field, if you look at a text field, for example, on this web page, there's search. Search on the top right, this search field, fine. This is a text field. Okay, and this text field, yeah, I'll do that. Fine, Jyoti. This text field is, if you click your mouse over here, this got an input tag, tag name known as input. Fine. So a text field has got a tag name known as input. Fine. And in case of a drop list, this is a drop list. Hold on, let us talk about drop lists later on. Just 1 minute. Right. In case of radio button, check boxes, normal buttons on the web page. Okay. For example, if there is a radio button, where is the radio button out here? No radio button. Hold on. HTML radio button. Yeah, this is the radio button, right? If you look at this radio button in Mozilla Firefox Firebug, fine, the radio button also has got the tag name as input. From my experience, I know that the checkbox has also got the tag name input, and buttons also have a tag name input. So this will be the common tag name. Text field, radio button, checkboxes, buttons, they have a common tag name input. Fine, but the mandatory attribute changes. For example, in a text field, this is a text field. Okay, if I investigate this text field, then the tag name is input, but the type is equal to text. This is a mandatory attribute. That is, for a text field, the type will always be equal to text. Okay, in case of a radio button, like this is a radio button, the type attribute will always be equal to radio. Okay, hold on. Right, and in case of checkbox, this is a checkbox. the type will always be equal to checkbox. In case of button, the type is equal to submit. So these are the mandatory attributes. They will always be present uh, with every element. The type attribute will differ for every element and will always be present. Fine. So if there's a combination that there's an input tag whose type is radio, then radio button will be formed on the page. Okay. A text, normal text. What do you mean by normal text? Text like this. Text like this. A normal text cannot be categorized into a single tag name. It can be any tag name: p, para, span, label, div. There are many tags. You cannot just categorize it. Okay. So text is not something which you can categorize into one tag. It can be present in various tags. Okay. Images. Images, if you look at a web page, hold on. For example, out here on the top, this is an image, w3schools.com. Okay, this image has got the tag name as img. Fine, and if I copy this tag name, I can place it here. Fine, it's got attributes like width, height, style. Fine, and one of the attributes is source. This describes the URL from which the image is loading. Fine. If you actually go to this URL, you will see the image. You see the image? Okay. So the source attribute out here describes the URL from which the image loads, and source attribute out here is a mandatory attribute. For an image, all the images will have a source attribute which describes the URL from which the image is loading. In case of a drop down, right, or a combo box or a drop down, whatever it is, look, the thing is, for a drop down, if you go to the website like quicker.com, and you will see that this is a drop down. If you investigate this drop down, yeah, so for example, this is a drop down. Fine. If you investigate this drop down in Firebug, then it is basically a select tag. Okay. Always remember that the drop down is a select tag, right? There is no mandatory or no optional attribute for it. Sorry, no mandatory, but optional can be there. Fine. No mandatory attribute for a drop down. Okay, so these are the various web components. Fine. And the various mandatory attributes which can be associated with a web component. Fine. Any questions till now? Feel free to ask questions. Any questions till now? Right. Now, do we have to memorize my Prachi? You don't have to memorize. When you work with Selenium, you'll automatically memorize them. You'll automatically come to them, right? With practice, you simply memorize them. Fine. Now, I just told you how to identify the objects, right, in Mozilla. How do you do it in Chrome, right? Yes, for the dynamically generated objects also, these are same. Yes. Okay. If you open up Chrome, when I open up Chrome, it is automatically taking me to MSN. Fine. Now on this web page, if I have to identify an object, there is no Firebug in Chrome. But in Chrome, we have got something known as Chrome Inspector. Okay. For example, if you right click on anywhere, for example, if I right click on this text box, you will get an option known as Inspect Element, and that particular element will be highlighted inside Chrome. You see that? If I right click on this link, then this link will be highlighted. Inspect element, right click, inspect element. Fine. I hope you got my point. Right. Drop list is actually not as same as combo box. In a combo box, you can type and it will point on name. You mean something like this when you go to Google, and if you type in hello over here, you get the options. Are you pointing towards this, Boris? Boris, are you pointing towards this thing? Or are you talking about multiple select list? Yeah, I'll tell you about I, or now hold on. In I, if you open up I, there is something known as I developer tool. You can open it up. You press F12 of your keyboard, similar to Chrome as well. In Chrome as well, if you hit F12, this inspector will come up. Chrome inspector. Similarly, the I developer 12 tool opens up if you hit F12. But you know what? The best browser which I feel is Mozilla as far as Selenium is concerned to identify the objects. Okay, because the page source will remain the same. This page source which you get will remain the same for all the browsers. Don't think that page source will be different for Mozilla, page source will be different from I and Chrome. No, this is something which you get from the server. Okay, so this will always remain same. Fine. Now what you have to do is that you can identify the object in Mozilla, and you can open up the, or you can use the same object in I or Chrome. That's not a problem because the mandatory and optional attributes and all, everything will remain same. The tag name. Okay, so what about the optional attributes? I did not tell you. There are various optional attributes which an element can have. These are generally ID, name, class. Generally, most 99% of the times, these are the three optional attributes which can be there with at any tag. So with the combination of tag name, mandatory and optional attributes, you can identify the objects. Now there are many object identifying mechanisms in Selenium. So I'll talk about that, right? I'll talk about that. Hold on. Uh, If the web app is only supporting I and does not support Chrome and Firefox, then you have to go to I and go to page source, and it's a little tough, but you'll be able to do it. That's the only way out, though no other way out. Okay. Right. Now, how do I identify the objects using these tag name, mandatory and optional attributes? Okay. Well, if I open up my Eclipse and let's make a project called day 4. Oh, I spelled it wrongly. Look, if you have to correct your project name or your Java file name or any name, right? Boris, I'll tell you. Hold on. I'll tell you. Just give me 10-15 minutes. I'll tell you. If you press F2 of your keyboard, you can rename it. For example, I can rename it to day 4 like this. Okay. In this, you will see the source folder. Create a new class. And suppose I make this class as bbc.com, bbc.java, right? Question is being asked, can we pass multiple optional attribute? You can. I will tell you. Hold on. Just right now, just understand one thing, that you have got a tag name, mandatory and optional attributes. That's it. Okay. How do we use them to identify the objects? There are various ways. I'm going to talk about all those permutations and combinations right now. Okay. Fine. Yeah, Nadia, I'll tell you about all these grid. Grid is basically web table. Okay. Multi-select list. I'll tell you how to do that as well. Fine. I've deliberately not talked about it because those are, I cannot say little complex, but those are little different. Okay. So first let us look at very simple things. Fine. Now if you make a simple code over here, that is I write new Firefox, or I'll copy the code. Hold on. First let me add the jar files of Selenium. Right. And yesterday I made this class, right? Selenium browsers. I'll copy the code from here into this class. Right. I want to run it on Mozilla and I want to go to the website bbc.com. Fine. Now after going to the website bbc.com, suppose I want to type in something inside this text field. Fine. So this is the text field, right? Or suppose if I want to click on a link or whatever it is, I want to do something. Fine. Or the best thing is, you know what, Gmail. But I think I'll be logged in into my account. Wait a minute. Yeah. The best example is from Gmail, because Gmail, it's pretty simple and straightforward. Suppose I go to the Gmail page. On Gmail, you have got a username and password field. Suppose I have to type in into username field. If you identify the username field, then it's an input tag whose ID is email. So ID is there. Fine. The best way to identify an object is that if the developer has given a unique optional attribute known as ID to the element, any element, but that should be unique. Fine, and generally it is unique. If you go to the code, fine, you write over here you want to go to gmail.com. Okay. Now, after going to gmail.com, you can write the command driver dot find element. This is a find element function, right? If you move your mouse over it, the documentation of WebDriver, we had imported it yesterday, right? What it does, it will find the first web element using the given method. I told you yesterday, right? that a web element is an interface. This is the web element interface, right? It represents a generic element on the web page, okay, like a button, link, or something. And in your WebDriver interface, you have a function known as find element, which returns you the reference of web element. Fine. What does find element returns you? It returns you the reference of web element. Okay. And how do you find the element? If I can write over here web element, say username equals to this. You import web element. Fine. Now how do you find the element? For finding the element, you see this find element, you have criteria. Those criteria are defined by the by class. By is a class in Selenium, again Selenium API. Everything in this class is static in nature, okay, so that when you write over here driver.find element, by which criteria, you have got various criteria by id, link text, name, xpath, css selectors, partial link text. So there are various criteria through which you can select your elements on the page. So those are described by this class name, css selector, id, link text, name, partial link text, tag name, xpath, right? Okay, so the most simplest case is the id or the name of the element if the developer has defined unique id or unique name. For example, in our case the id has been defined, it is email, so we can use the simplest form, that is we can go here and say that driver.find element by the id email. So this will become your web element username. What do you want to do with this web element? You can write username dot, you will get all the functions which are there associated with the web element: clear, click, find element, tag name, get text, is displayed, right? And there's a function send keys. Send keys function is used to simulate typing into the element. If I write send keys hello, it will type hello inside the username field. If you run this, it will go forward and you see that it's typed hello. Similarly, if you take the password field, then the ID of this field is PASSWD, right? Or it's got a name as well. The name attribute is equal to password. Fine. So you can write over here web element password is equal to driver.find element by the name, and you can give the name. Oh, I'm sorry. The name as PASSWD. Fine. And you can write over here password dot send keys, any password. Okay, so you identifying the objects with ID and name is one of the simplest things, right? So it will work on Mozilla. It will open up Mozilla and it will type in. If I change the name of my browser over here from Mozilla to Chrome, it will open up Chrome driver. Okay, driver.find element commands and all will remain same because all the drivers they implement the WebDriver interface. Okay, so you just have to change the browser name over here, and when you run this, it will open up Chrome and it will go and type in the elements. See that? Right? And similarly, if I make it I, it will also work on I. Fine. Right. Now these two things, ID and all, right? These are quite simple. Fine. But you cannot expect every element on every web application to have an ID or name. Fine. Hold on. Chrome driver.exe starting. If we give buy.id in way, yes, it will work. You can give any criteria. I've deliberately given it by.name password. If you give by.id and give the ID of this password field, it will work. Okay, right. Now the thing is, you cannot expect every element on every web page to have an ID or something or a name. Right. For example, if you look at the text over here, experience the ease and simplicity of Gmail everywhere you go. If you look at this text, then this text falls under h4 tag, whose class is this. Fine. Now, you know what? ID or name can be unique, but you cannot expect the class to always be unique. Don't expect that class for a tag name will be unique. Okay, fine. Generally, ID or tag associated with an object is unique. How can I get window task manager? Okay, it's quite simple. You can press alt control delete and you'll get the task manager. In XP, I just right click over here and you get the task manager option. I get it. Right. Another question is being asked, can we use encrypted password in Eclipse as in QTP? Yes, you can use it. There is something known as base64 encoding. You can do it. I'll tell you. Right. You can simply have a look over here on Google. If you want to hide your passwords from everyone, we use something known as base 64 encoding and decoding in Java. You can hold on. This is a link over here. They have shown some Java code how to encrypt a string. Fine. You can have a look at it. Right. Okay. Right. Jyoti, hold on. I'm coming over to that point. Fine. How to identify dynamically changing objects and all. Right. Dynamically changing objects or objects which don't have any ID on, like this text over here. Fine. Or if you scroll down, if you look at the link learn more over here, then this link has got no ID or no name, nothing. Okay. So how do you do that? Well, out here, concept of like CSS selectors and XPaths, it comes into play. Okay. I'll talk about XPaths first. Fine. What is an XPath? XPath is like the address of an element on a web page. Okay. For example, uh, as I tell everyone that if you have a city, in that city every house has a particular house number which is unique for that particular house. Similarly, XPath is there. XPath is something which is like for a particular element, it's the address of the element. But this doesn't mean that every element can have a unique XPath. You can have an XPath which is common for many multiple elements as well, right? But generally we can prepare an XPath which will pinpoint to that particular element. For example, I'll open up Notepad and I'll tell you there are two types of XPaths. One XPath is complete XPath and one XPath is partial XPath. Fine. XPaths, they fall under two categories: complete and partial. Fine. Partial XPaths are good to use, complete XPaths are not good to use. I'll talk about both of them. Fine. Both of them can be used to identify the objects. Right. For example, this text over here, experience the ease and simplicity. If you scroll up, you will see that this text is inside this div tag. Fine. This div tag is inside this div tag and this div is inside this div. So if you start from the root of the document, that is the HTML tag, fine, you can keep on traversing down. You can write over here there is an HTML tag, inside it there is a body tag. Fine. This complete XPath is formed with tag names. Right. Inside the HTML tag there are head and body two tags. I'm interested in body tag because my element in which I'm interested in, that is this text, is inside the body tag. Fine. Now inside the body tag there is a div tag. So you will go here and write that there is a div tag. Inside this div there are many divisions. So there are various tags. I am interested in the second div tag because the object is inside the second div tag. This text is inside the second div tag. Okay. So you will write over here that under this div go inside the second div tag like this. Okay. Inside the second div tag there are again multiple tags. Okay. And in which I am interested in the again second div tag inside the second div tag. So you will write over here div2. Now this at times can get very confusing to make, right? But understand the concept. The concept is that you start with the HTML tag, you keep on traversing the page till the time you get this h4 tag. Fine. So you keep on doing this till the time in the end you get the h4 tag, and this will be your complete XPath. This is a very accurate XPath. It points to the element in which it points to the element in which you are interested with a pinpoint accuracy from the base of the document. Okay, fine. You don't have to calculate this XPath manually every time. What you can do is that you can write over here, you can go to Google and you can install an add-on on top of your Firebug. This is my Firebug, right? You can install an add-on on top of it known as FirePath. FirePath is a add-on. If you write FirePath download, fine, this FirePath will get installed as an add-on inside your Mozilla browser and it will easily give you the XPaths. Hold on. I'll talk about IE and Chrome as well. Just give me 2 minutes. You click on this add to Firefox icon and this add-on will be installed. You click on the install now button and restart your Firefox. So this add-on will be actually made if you go to the website Gmail again, and if you look at this username field, fine, hold on, yeah, you'll see that there's a FirePath option over here. Out here you'll see a fire path option coming up. Fine. All you need to do is that in this you keep this option checked, generate absolute XPath. Keep this option checked. Okay. And now if you move your mouse over any element, suppose if I move my mouse over this, FirePath will give you the absolute XPath of this element. Or if I move my mouse over the username field, you will get the complete XPath of this, or the absolute XPath or complete XPath. You get the absolute or complete XPath for the element. Fine. Okay. So you can get it, but the problem is this kind of XPath is not good. Tomorrow, if anything changes on the page, any new component is introduced in between, or something changes, a division is added or removed, or some developer changes something, then your XPath will go for a toss. Maintaining such an XPath over a period of time is difficult. Right? It's starting from the base of the document, right? If it is starting from the base of the document, anything can change between the HTML tag and the tag in which I am interested. The last tag is the tag in which I am interested. It's the tag name of the component in which I have to write something. For example, this is the tag name of this input field. Between this, if anything changes, then I had it, right? I'll have to go to my code and change all the XPaths. Okay. So we prefer not using it. I don't say that we don't use it. We use it at various circumstances, right? But we prefer not using such an XPath which starts from the base of the document. Fine. What we do is we generally take partial XPaths. Right. Now how do you form a partial XPath? Partial XPath starts from a double slash. Double slash represents that this is a partial XPath. Okay. If I write double slash star, this is the partial XPath representing all the elements on the page. A button, a link, a radio button, checkbox, whatever you can say. Okay. If I write double slash star at the rate ID equals to email, then this becomes my partial XPath of an element on a page whose ID is email. We know that the ID of this username field is email. Fine. Or to be more precise, what we do is we give the tag name instead of star. We write double slash input. There is an input field on the page whose ID is email. Fine. I hope you got the point. A partial XPath starts with double slash. If I write double slash star, that means it's any component on the page, right? If I write double slash star ID is email, that means any component on the page whose ID is email. If I give a tag name over here, double slash input ID is email, that means there's an input field whose ID is email, right? Boris, I'll talk about that. Over a period of time, we'll come to know, we'll see that what if two elements have the same ID, what will you do if you have to identify the second one or the first one, right? So we'll take up all those scenarios as well, but let's take up the simple ones first. Fine. Now out here you can use FirePath to generate your partial XPaths as well. You uncheck the option generate absolute XPath and now move your mouse over the email field, username field. You will get this. You will get the same output which I had made out here. This is what you get from FirePath. Okay, right? Now at times, suppose you are on a page like this and you try to investigate this button add to Firefox. You get a partial XPath like this. Now how is this XPath being formed? Okay. Yeah, question is being asked, can you again explain how to find the partial XPath manually? Look, you can find the partial XPath. You should get it from Firebug. Okay. In the beginning, if you are a beginner, use Firebug to get a partial XPath. Okay. Gradually you will learn how to do it yourself as well. Simply go over here, look at the field, the double slash star ID is username. That means there is a web component on the page whose ID is username. Instead of star you can put the tag name, that is there is an input field with the ID username. Fine. If I look at the XPath of this particular link, like I told you, the login link, hold on. Yeah, the login link has got this XPath. Use Firebug, right? In the beginning use Firebug. Or if I look at the XPath for this button, add to Firefox, then this is the XPath. Now how is this XPath formed? Add to Firefox is actually a link, right? That's why the anchor tag is coming in the end. A. This link is inside this para tag. Right? Now what Firebug does, it goes and sees this link. Has this link got an ID? No, this link has not got an ID. So what Firebug does, it moves one step above. It goes to this para tag. Fine. Has this para tag got an ID? No. It moves one step ahead up and it goes to this div tag. Has this div got an ID? No. Then it again moves one step above, it goes here. Again it never got the ID. Then it moved to this div. This div has again not got an ID. This is the division. Right? In the end it finds this division whose ID is add-on. So it starts like this. Instead of star you can manually put div over here. Right? So it makes an XPath like this, that there is a div with the ID add-on. This is the div. Inside it go to the div 1. This is div 1. Inside it you go to another div, then another div 1, then para tag, then anchor tag. So instead of starting from the root of the document, it started from a division where it got an ID. You got my point? Right? Okay. This means that we only use XPath to identify the position of the element. We don't have an ID associated with it. Yes. Firebug detects the objects based on the ID. Right? If you have to do the same thing on Chrome, for example on Chrome, this is my Google page, right? Or I go to the news section, this is the news page. If I have to find the XPath of the element in Chrome, you can right click on the element, select the inspect element option, you will get the element, you right click on this and you select copy XPath, you'll get the option. Right click on any element, you'll get copy XPath option in Chrome. You can copy it and you can paste it, you'll get it. Fine. Only thing is, instead of double quotes you can put single quotes. Okay, fine. So we'll continue from the same place where we had left today. Right, we'll continue tomorrow. Fine. So what I told you about two basic type of XPaths, complete and partial. Partial ones you can get from Firebug, complete also you will get from Firebug, no worries. In Chrome you can right click and copy the XPath. In IE you have to make it manually, there is no other way. Okay. So fine then. Any question from anybody? I hope people who had registered yesterday for the training, they have got the username password, right? Yeah, we have a session after 2 days now. On Indian Monday, that is on Sunday evening in US. Okay, right? On Sunday evening US, Monday morning, India time will be the last trial class. Okay, in case you want to register for the training, you can go to my site qtpselenium.com and you can go to the contact trainer link over here. There is a contact trainer link. You can fill out the form that you want to join the training and I will send you the training. Right? No, Karai, we don't have a class tomorrow. We have a class on Monday. Yes, Vinita, from Tuesday paid classes will start. Yes, on Indian Monday, that is Sunday evening in US. Alright, I was not well this week, so I missed out one class. But we'll have it on Monday then. Right? Okay. So you click on this contact trainer. If you're interested, you can simply fill out the form and send me the message. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.